Clarkson isn't known to stay quiet if he doesn't like something. So it was no surprise to see him speak up when he didn't like the fact that James Corden was being interviewed at the Miami Grand Prix. Corden broke into the American market when he started presenting The Late Late Show, but before this gained a massive following thanks to his work on Gavin and Stacey. He later lost that following after we all saw him on Cats. Over the weekend, he was seen with the McLaren team as the comedian was filming for The Late Late Show, but Clarkson, not one to mince his words, posted this to Twitter. "Why on earth are we listening to James Corden?" he asked his Twitter following of 7.7 million people. I have no idea who thinks people like Corden are important, but then again they are the same people that speak to you, Jeremy, one fan answered. Another added, "Because F1 has been Americanized, more emphasis on entertainment than racing." No, come on. "I turned on Sky Sports F1, saw James Corden, turned immediately back off," a third said. I must admit, Corden came across quite well during his interview before the race. He was passionate and he was interested and excited to be there, which is more that can be said for a lot of the comedians, the celebrities there. Not comedians, celebrities. Although there is a slight overlap. But the value he gave to the viewers was questionable to say the least. Look, I like that celebrities who actually have an interest in racing have been invited. I think that's great. And they can do whatever they want on Instagram, raise the profile of F1 even further. It's when they actually have real input on the TV. I don't really understand why they're there for that. Do F1 fans really care what James Corden says? Probably not, unless you're like a real James Corden fan, which I'm not really. But you know, great. I like the fact he's there. I like the fact these celebrities are there because they can advertise it on their social media. It's when they're kind of forced in front of the viewers when there could be something of more value going on. That's when it kind of grinds my gears a bit. But Corden said in the interview anyway, he said, "It's nuts. It's been an intense experience. I've been here filming with the McLaren team for the last 3 days, really. We've had a great experience from top to bottom and it will be on the show in a few months." On being asked which team and driver he supports, he was keen to answer. He said, "You realise this isn't a sport about individuals. It's about true teams, and as soon as you become invested in a team, if it matters to them, it matters to you. For me, my love, I will always be a Jensen Button guy." Now, let's talk about these answers for a second. They're great. Come on, he could be acting, but I don't think he was. I like the way he's enthusiastic. He obviously has interest in F1. He's probably been watching F1 for a long time, especially, you know, as I think the British people have been watching F1 for a lot longer than a lot of Americans, which isn't an issue. I'm just saying, it's probably true. And the fact that they are advertising F1 on The Late Late Show, I think that can only be a good thing. You know, people have very mixed emotions or mixed feelings about The Late Late Show. I don't watch it. I'm in Britain, don't really know what it is. We don't have shows quite like that in this country, but getting F1 in front of people's eyes, I cannot complain about that. And I know a lot of people will complain about that, but I personally can't complain about that. I think it's great. I love the promotion it's getting. I love the way it's growing. I mean, look how it's growing into the American market at the moment. Miami, the first time F1's been in Miami. Next year, Las Vegas. Come on, more racing. I know the Miami Grand Prix was a bit crazy. It was definitely an interesting weekend. Many fans described it as a fever dream, beginning with fake water, mermaids, celebrities everywhere. The racing started and, I mean, come on, for the first 39 laps, not a lot happened. I know there was quite a lot going on in the midfield, but to me, watching those little battles happening in the midfield didn't seem that exciting. It was almost kind of like someone overtaking someone else on a motorway, and I think it was the track at fault there. I think a lot of drivers were overhyping the track as well. I think a lot of people in general were overhyping the track because they expected it to be better for overtaking, things like that. But we saw a lot of DRS trains. We saw a lot of people losing traction because there's a lot of dust or sand or whatever there was on the track out of the racing line. Anyway, the last 20 laps became really, really exciting. It's got to be said. The safety car came out because of the crash between Lando and Gasly, and it was Gasly, wasn't it? Yes, it was Gasly. And this brought the whole pack together again, and we finally had some really tight racing. The first four, Ferrari and Red Bull, they were kind of off doing their own thing. Max Verstappen obviously did a really good job of staying way ahead of the pack. Obviously his car was really suited to that track, and you know, they do have a bit more power than the Ferraris. But a load of the stuff that we were watching wasn't actually shown to us, because instead we were getting more shots of the clouds and interviews with Christian Horner, and not a lot of what was actually going on track. So it came to an end with Max Verstappen taking the win. A solid drive from the Red Bull driver. Charles Leclerc and Ferrari teammate Carlos Sainz then joined second and third respectively. Hamilton, who I'm sure you'll be interested in, arrived sixth, with teammate George Russell having another lucky but well-driven run, going from 12th to 5th place. He really looked after his tyres. I know it has been said that Hamilton was actually faster on hard tyres at that kind of age, but come on. For me, George Russell was the driver of the day. He really impressed people, and there's no doubt that he belongs in a team, I was going to say like Mercedes, but they're not doing so well this year. He belongs in a team that has a chance to get podiums. There's no doubt about it. Okay, the race ended. We were treated to way more craziness than we were expecting. There was a police escort, there were blue lights flashing, the drivers came out wearing helmets. It was crazy. And it's safe to say, we were on Twitter watching you guys, and you did not know how to feel about it. There were a lot of people saying it was way too cringy, which I kind of do agree with. It was mad. There was a lot of stuff going on. They got tangled in all the stuff that came down on them at the end. It was a weird race. But what do we think of the Miami track? Not great. It didn't really do anything for me. A lot of drivers complained about the slow slalom. I think that really slowed down the pace of the track as well. I think they do need to do a lot of work on the track to make it a bit more interesting. But this is the first time it's been raced on. So come on. They're going to make improvements. I don't know, I'm trying to grab some kind of positivity from this. I'm finding it very difficult. Let me know, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the Miami Grand Prix. I'm really interested to see what you think. Be reading a lot of what you have to say on Twitter. I know a lot of it wasn't so positive, but come on. It was crazy. It was interesting to watch, to say the least. And I'm not even talking about the racing at this point. Everything was interesting to watch. A lot of stuff. There were mermaids. I wonder how much they got paid. And have they got a chance? Okay. Like, subscribe if you like this kind of content. We're going to continue to follow the F1 as we go through the season. I'm going to try and do as many videos as possible. Like, subscribe. See you on GrandTourNation.com, where we've got even more information. See you there.